Good morning, and welcome to On-Site Service. Your connection to better service is here. I'm Erin Turneau, Senior Vice President of Operations for PartSource and host of this morning's symposium. Joining me to kick off this session is my colleague, Dave Brennan, Chief Product Officer for PartSource. Welcome back, Dave.
Thanks, Erin. This has been a great morning so far, and this may be my favorite part of the morning. I am super excited and proud to kick this one off, and then I'll turn it over to my colleague, Scott Latt, but very, very proud and excited to announce this groundbreaking solution, which has frankly been years and years in the making for on-demand or on-site service, depending on your favorite label. To put this in context, teams across the industry, HTM teams, are always pursuing continuous improvement. We've been talking about it all morning on our sessions. And time and materials spend as a category is one of the most chaotic, one of the most least controlled, one of the most highly inefficient categories of spend across HTM teams. And most HTM teams just put up with it, frankly. But when you peel back the onion, if you will, and start investigating the spend and investigating the processes, and as we talk with our customers, what they tell us is stories of incredible wasted time, incredible price variation, very little measurement of effectiveness across the industry, across an event, across a hospital, across a system. No real rigorous feedback loops around the way on-demand or on-site service is performed to generate continuous improvement. Oftentimes, poor communication, poor documentation, and it's no one's intention, but that's just the reality of a chaotic, many people kind of arriving on site to do many different tasks at any given point in time industry. And at the end of it all, there's very little in the way of objective data to look at after the fact. And so today we're announcing a groundbreaking solution that helps to and plans to solve many of those challenges. It's the first of its kind. It is an evidence-based network of service professionals. It's a network you can access easily from your phone, from partsource.com. Give us a quick phone call. And it really is going to benefit all the actors here. It's going to benefit OEMs. It's going to benefit ISOs. It's going to benefit our healthcare providers, our customers. The technology leverages our precision procurement engine, some of our patented technology, and it delivers you the best talent, objectively measured, to meet your needs and provide unmatched service for your most critical assets, under the watchful eye and under the sort of oversight of our concierge service teams managing the process throughout the whole life cycle of the event. So what you're going to see is a world where the process becomes standardized. Consistent communications are delivered to your team and your team members, whoever needs to know what's going on. So there's never any more guesswork or laying awake at night wondering where your radiology assets are and that sort of thing. You're going to have competitive quoting. You're going to see measurable behaviors of the service technicians that are arriving on site. And we have to put this in context. These are human beings that are arriving on your site, integrating into your team, with your employees, with your family, and they have to represent you well and also give incredibly high quality results. So there are quality controls built throughout our process. Scott will talk about them in a moment. But the result of this is better controls for you, better visibility for you, better feedback mechanisms for you, better measurement of your spend and your outcomes. And that's what it's really about. It's about outcomes. This should drive better uptime for your mission critical assets, better patient safety, and that's about all of our families. So I couldn't be more proud to introduce our on-site service product offering. And with that, I will turn it over to Scott Latt, who's our Senior Director of Product Management for Service. So Scott, take it away.
Dave, thank you. And good afternoon, good morning, everyone. Super excited to be launching this on-site service solution with PartSource, with Dave, with the rest of the team who has helped build this. And we'll go through a few more slides that you've been exposed to yet in this morning, and then we'll actually do a short demo of the solution. So we start relative to kind of the development of on-site service, and there are a variety of tenets that are very important to this solution. The first of which is evidence-based. Very specifically, when it comes to on-site service, this isn't something that's new to PartSource. We've actually been doing on-site service events with our customers for many years. In fact, we have over 5,000 service events that we've actually done with our customers to install tubes, to actually do preventative maintenance, to do some corrective maintenance as well. So all of that actually is the foundation upon which we built our on-site service solution. Beyond that, the evidence-based element is actually integrating into kind of partsource.com, our e-commerce marketplace that is evidence-based and provides all of you access to all of the quality elements with our parts purchases. We want to make this as easy to buy service as it is to buy parts. So that's tenet number one when it comes to our development of on-site services. The network is also important. We, from a PartSource perspective, aren't in the business of hiring engineers. We actually partner with our service provider partners, and they are actually the engineers that actually go out and perform many of the on-site service engagements with all of you. So we'll talk a little bit more about the network. We're very excited to have over 1,000 service specialists in the network. And of those 1,000, we actually have independent service organizations and OEMs as part of that network. And then, of course, the exciting element of all of this is the technology, the automation that's built into partsource.com, into our back office, where we can actually manage all of the service events as well as the procurement that we'll talk about next. From a precision procurement decision support perspective, I like to think of it as something that you all have been exposed to relative to parts, and it's very significant in how we deliver quality to you. All we're doing is adding to precision procurement with on-site service. Those 5,000 service events actually form the foundation of our decision support algorithms. We actually have all of the service specialists, over 1,000 service specialists, once again, all of that information from an engineer, demographic perspective, as well as the service provider firmographics are part of this. And then what's really beautiful about this solution is the concept of incorporating each and every piece of the service event into precision procurement moving forward. So as a service specialist is on site conducting a service engagement, we're actually capturing all sorts of metrics. Service metrics includes arrival times, first time fix rates, mean times to repair. And then we're not stopping there. We're actually also doing a lot of the behavioral elements of on-site service as well. So communications pathways, are they reaching out to you ahead of time? And then ultimately the customer satisfaction score. So we're taking into account and building into precision procurement those elements of the service event experience as well. This image to the right is actually how we'll represent that to you all from a customer's perspective. So we're actually highlighting and promoting the service specialist and how he or she, her customer satisfaction scores, specialties, certifications, and the like. And then, of course, we have the financial information relative to the service event request. So all of this part of the precision procurement decision support solution. I mentioned the network moments ago. And again, we're very excited about over 1,000 service specialists, and we're adding service providers and service specialists every week relative to the network. And I do anticipate a little bit more interest after the launch and after we're out with customers doing on-site service in a more aggressive behavior, given the promotion up on partsource.com and all of you hearing about it for the first time as a promoted solution from PartSource. The network itself, again, the largest service network in the industry, comprised of independent service organization and original equipment manufacturers. So this is kind of that multi-vendor, multi-modality service support infrastructure that we're going to tap into in order to address all of your needs. And of course, we're leveraging the PartSource sourcing expertise in qualifying these specialists. We're very strong from an imaging perspective when it looks like these modalities, from a CT, MR, X-ray, C-arms, cath angio, and mammography, and we do have coverage for biomed as well. So we're very excited about all of those elements, and a lot of these service specialists are local. So they're in driving range to many of our major metropolitan areas. So especially with COVID and some of the impacts of COVID, it's great to know that PartSource has invested and built the service network to address some of those needs as they evolve moving forward. So how does this work? I'm going to walk you through kind of the high level, and then we'll get into a demonstration. So from a precision procurement perspective, literally you as a customer would actually enter in your service event request. We actually are showing the add to cart option. So as a clinical engineer, imaging specialist is actually ordering a tube. He or she can actually click on add on-site service, and that'll actually start a quoting process. We get that service event information back at PartSource, and we're bouncing that up against our database of service specialists via precision procurement, and we're identifying the best available resource based off of the service event, the location, and the needs of the service event itself. From an event management perspective, that's where we take the next step with on-site service. When you look at the rigor and surveillance of on-site service, we're leveraging technology that's available to our service providers. This is an example of a mobile application that enables the service specialist, as he or she is out in the field, to be notified of a service event. That mobile application will also walk the service specialist through the process and enable that service specialist to notify kind of PartSource relative to where they're at in the service engagement. All of that information then is shared in partsource.com and captured in emails sent back to the customer relative to each step of this process. In addition, as we're doing the service event, the service specialist can leverage this technology to actually capture all of the information that's needed to fill out the field service report. All of it's done real time as he or she is walking through the workflows. The service specialist can actually gather photos to help with kind of the service event and the documentation of that service event. All designed, once again, to drive better outcomes throughout the service event itself. So at the end of the day, it really is a lot of benefits from a time savings perspective, minimizing search time and maximizing uptime. So we talked a little bit about the online ability to enter a service request. That just saves time and enables you and your team to actually focus in on other clinical needs, clinical asset needs throughout the organization. The other element of this is just tapping into our service network. So the service network, once again, is available for an on-demand, time and material, reactive type approach, but it's also available for proactive, more strategic, fleet-wide activities, if you will. So we have a lot of customers doing both. And then ultimately, with all of the built-in quality elements, all of the built-in communication elements, the peace of mind concept really resonates with a lot of our customers with all of the notification that we can provide through on-site service. And then I'm going to hand it off to a pre-recorded technology demo. This will actually walk through from beginning to end as a service event takes a little bit more time than we have this afternoon, this morning. We'll leverage some technology here with the demo.
PartSource on-site service allows you to solve equipment downtime issues with online access to an expansive pool of curated and credentialed repair and maintenance technicians. Now available through partsource.com. It's precision procurement at its finest. Data-driven decision support technology that ensures you have the best options available for your needs. Built on the strength of our carefully curated network of over 100 OEM and ISO service providers. We've integrated the service event request process throughout the PartSource.com platform, so ordering your next service is only a few clicks away. In fact, you can order a service event from one of the highly qualified service providers in the PartSource service network in as little as 60 seconds. An on-site service engagement can be initiated from PartSource.com in any of 3 ways. You can request a quote for an on-site service engagement from our On-Site Service Departmental Solutions page. Just click Departments and select On-Site Service, then the type of service you're looking for. For example, selecting Imaging Solutions will allow you to request a number of different types of services for modalities such as CT, MRI, X-ray, ultrasound, and more. To request a quote for an on-site service engagement, click the Start button, complete the on-screen form with information about your request, and then click Request Quote. On-site service can also be ordered at the same time you're ordering a part from PartSource.com. This is a great option for those times when you're buying a part and you also need a service engagement to install it. From the product description page, select the Add On-Site Service checkbox before adding the part to your cart. Once the part is added to your cart, you'll be prompted for details about the service you're requesting. Once completed, the request for an on-site service quote is submitted and the part is added to your cart. Even if you buy the part now, you are still able to review and approve a quote for the on-site services engagement before you purchase it. If you currently have the ability to request quotes for parts in depot repair, the fastest and easiest way to request a quote for on-site service is by clicking Request Quote at the top of the page. Select On-Site Service as your quote type, complete the form with information about your service request, then click Request Quote. Let's check out just how easy it is to initiate an on-site service engagement with PartSource. For example, let's look at this GE Brightspeed CT located in this hospital's ED that needs a tube installed. We'll submit a request for an on-site service to install the tube by completing the on-screen form with details on the installation. The intelligent fields make filling out the request easy and less prone to error. Once our request for an on-site service quote is received, PartSource will leverage its precision procurement technology to identify, procure, and manage the best engineer from OEMs and ISOs to perform the service. Once the request is evaluated, it is routed to the service providers identified as the best options in the network to respond. Typically, quotes are returned and made available for review in 2 hours or less on PartSource.com. To review the quote, let's click My Account, then Quotes. From here, we're able to review and approve the quote and purchase the service with just a few clicks, in much the same way we would purchase a part. PartSource.com provides native tools to provide insight and transparency into all your HTM needs, including your on-site service engagements. At any time, you can click My Account and then On-Site Service to view the on-site service tracker. Here you can easily view details on all your on-site service engagements at every step of the process. Take note of the level of detail provided for members of the PartSource service network to help you make a better informed decision on your service engagement. This includes information on the provider's customer satisfaction score, their number of years of experience, specialties, and recent similar jobs that they've performed. On-site services quotes can be reviewed and added to your cart from the screen as well, and once purchased and confirmed, you'll have step-by-step insight into your service event from beginning to end. Our services team also provides notifications via email to ensure you're in the loop on your on-site service engagements, even when you're away from PartSource.com. You'll receive order update notifications for order confirmations. We'll let you know that your request for a service quote has been received and that we're working on it. Quote review and approval. We'll let you know when a service quote is available in your quotes queue for you to review. The detail-rich notification contains information on the engineer who responded to the request to help you make a better informed decision. A service event is scheduled. We'll let you know when your service event is scheduled to be performed and who will be there to perform it. A service event is completed. We'll let you know when the engineer has completed the service. A service report is attached. Within 48 hours of completion, you'll receive a copy of the service report via email. Of course, this report is also available for download from PartSource.com at any time. Request for feedback. Customer feedback is a key input into our precision procurement technology. Shortly after your service is completed, you'll receive a short survey via email, And depending on your response, a member of our customer service team may contact you for additional information. Like all purchases made through partsource.com, you have full visibility into how much you are spending on on-site service and where that spend is going. All data on on-site services engagements made through PartSource are available through our reporting tools, including our PartSource Pro exclusive Visual Analytics data visualization tool. PartSource has redefined service to exceed the expectations of both our customers and our service provider partners. PartSource on-site service can help HTM teams streamline productivity with a single platform for both parts and services that can help you experience peace of mind and eliminate uncertainty through our patented precision procurement technology and real-time tracking tools. Our data-driven platform optimizes the service event process for both customers and service providers, giving our more than 100 OEM and ISO partners increased visibility into their business and opening the door to new opportunities. PartSource on-site service. Your connection to better service.
And I couldn't have said it better, with your connection to better service. So very excited to have had this chance to introduce the on-site service solution to all of you for your next installation, corrective repair, preventative maintenance, calibration training opportunity for all major imaging makes and models. Please reach out to us relative to your next opportunity. All of this is available now at partsource.com, and we will be sharing much of this with everyone through various PartSource activities moving forward, including quarterly business reviews and the like. So my thanks to everyone for the announcement, and very excited to release this into the PartSource community.
Thank you, Scott. The new on-demand service and on-site offering is an exciting holistic solution for the entire industry. I encourage everyone to visit partsource.com, like Scott mentioned. You can learn more about this offering and others. If you have any questions for any of our speakers today, please feel free to enter them in the Q&A section at the bottom of the screen, and we'll be sure to answer them after the session if we don't have time. Now for our final session of the morning, I'd like to invite Dave Brennan back to join me for a discussion about our key takeaways from today's session and how they support digital future for HTM. Hi, Dave. Welcome back.
Hey, Erin. Awesome session. Love it. Love it.
Great sessions. Amazing leaders.
Absolutely.
So, Dave, what was your biggest takeaway from the keynote presentation with Phil and Mark, Sam, and Mike?
It was great. I actually took like 4 pages of notes, and I think we have 20 new webinar ideas from this session. It was great leadership, great display of creativity from them all. I don't know that I have one takeaway so much as I have a handful. I mean, I think it's worth noting Sam from McLaren kicked it off early with a great explanation of balancing needs, balancing your supply of your inventory with the true demands of your system, and looking for non-value added work. Really truly honing in on what has to be done was a great point, and then building that into long range plans that then get communicated effectively over a long period of time, repetitively, such that employees can get a sense of engagement. And this is a reason why we're not doing this kind of work. This is a reason why we've chosen to focus here. And I thought that was great. She gave a wonderful example of her defib analysis and how they really, at the end of that analysis, were able to reduce their defibs by 20%, both freeing up capacity from a PM perspective on her team, as well as putting a little bit of revenue back in their pocket. And then in no particular order, Mark Manning's discussion of clinically integrated HTM was fascinating. His department is partnered with a musculoskeletal radiologist director, and this doctor, who I think is Dr. Amrani, if I'm not mistaken, is partnered with Mark and the supply chain organization, which gives them an incredibly powerful trio when talking to other departments in the hospital, when talking to vendors, when analyzing data, they do it as a team. And I think that in and of itself is worth another series of discussions. I think that was fascinating.
Yep.
And then Mike,
Yeah, I also love,
go ahead.
oh, sorry. No, I was going to say, I also love the focus on training and development. Both Mark and Sam talked about, some ways in which they're focused on training and development. I loved the approach that Mayo is taking and partnering with some of the local colleges. So they're getting folks, directly out of college to help solve for the, retirement, volume of employees that are close to retirement. And Sam, had a great reference and resource in Amy. Sounds like she's helped build some of those tools, but focusing on developing and continuously assessing employees and team members. And that's important in any industry, but to have a tool that can help drive that sounds amazing. And so hopefully folks check that out through Amy.
Absolutely. That was brilliant. And then I would also highlight Mike Busticker's, work smarter, not harder message, which I thought he gave a lot of great examples from refocusing on high risk mission critical assets rather than some of the small portable equipment, which they could transfer to a depot solution. And then free up that capacity for their OR or for their lab was brilliant. I thought, many of the speakers this morning spoke about the usage of data, parts data from PartSource, parts data from other vendors to help with their planning, whether it's centralized stocking or otherwise. I loved Sam's comment about her analysis and really just determining what you're not going to do and what you're not going to focus on. And it's a really powerful message to a group of people who are largely tasked with managing an incredible number of assets with incredibly few people and have ever increasing demands upon them. I thought it was brilliant. So thank you again to all of those speakers in the first session. It was a really great session.
That was a great session. On the note of data, Dave, you were the moderator for the real world challenges and solutions with Ed and Sharon and Larry. How do you think that data plays a role in overcoming some of those challenges and creating solutions?
Yeah, it's a great question, and that was a great session, and it's important to note that they weren't on the field, so to speak, with the other players in the first session, right? They were in the green room, they were in the locker room, they were waiting to go on for their webinar, so they didn't get the benefit of actually talking or hearing some of the discussion, and yet some of the same themes came up around the leveraging data, giving yourself flexible options, building long-term plans, making sure you have contingency plans. I thought, Larry's use of the word optimization and giving yourself options around optimizing your team, and the equation around optimizing your team was a critical one. And then to your point around data and metrics, it came up in multiple ways. I loved the fact that Sharon from Mantis Medical, a service provider, really hit it head on, saying, I want the feedback, I want the continuous improvement, I want the measurements for my team, I want the ability to drive continuous improvement across my organization, and that the measurements will drive better outcomes.
Right.
And the same sort of capacity discussion, Ed from Kaleida mentioned that he doesn't have the luxury of an AEM program. He doesn't have that. He has to go through each PM procedure in the state of New York. So he really needs that flexibility that we're talking about in the use of external labor solutions, which brings us to our last topic.
Yep. Yeah, the service session was great, exciting solutions. And, here at PartSource, we are always focused on continuous improvement, but really driving and evolving our solutions based on customer demand. So we always want to be ahead of the curve as much as possible, solving those problems and being proactive. But since so much of our development and design and our programs are developed around those customer challenges, what have you seen, through your product team and working with customers? What changes have customers and hospitals been demanding that has evolved the services strategy and the solution that we created?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great question, and I think that it's a host of things that really add up to inefficiencies and variability within the time and materials space or the on-demand space that ultimately end up costing money and time and delivering poorer quality, less quality solutions than the industry deserves. Our customers have been very clear about the time wasted in sourcing these events, the time wasted in chasing field service reports and good documentation, the variability of the documentation that shows up during their audits. And like most things, you can't control what you don't measure. And if we're not measuring the on-site behavior of technicians, if we're not delivering clear, consistent, multi-vendor reporting that is objective, we can't hope to help our clinical partners drive better outcomes. We certainly can't hope to help our supply side partners build better programs of service and really know where they need to shore up their operations. So super excited to announce that. I think Scott did a great job of walking through the solution, which is really going to benefit OEMs. It's going to benefit ISOs. It's going to benefit the healthcare provider community by providing standard approaches to what has been a very non-standardized area of spend for HTM teams.
Yep. Yeah, on the note of on-site service, we had a question, and while we can't answer all the questions that were posed today, we'll make sure to follow up with folks that answered questions that we can't cover. But just to make sure we can cover at least one of them, Dave, and on the note of service, there was a question about how on-site service works with our PartSource Pro program. So PartSource Pro, for those of you that aren't aware, is a program that we offer hospitals in order to consolidate, provide not only cost savings, but time savings, and a lot of value through data and insights in consolidating those procurement activities. So, in the context of PartSource Pro, the question was, how does on-site service work with that program? Does it work with that program? Do you want to provide some insight on that?
Sure. Great question. So I would start with saying it's that community of pro clients that collaborated on the design of the product. And as consumers of on-demand service or on-site service from PartSource, they get preferred pricing through the program. That's the primary benefit that they receive. And frankly, what they're looking at is how do I do this on a fleet basis? How do I do this on an enterprise basis? How do I look at this service as a way of freeing up time, freeing up capacity, and thinking about it as sort of a dispatch as a service model, and dispatch as a service that means I'm no longer sourcing, I'm no longer chasing, I'm no longer, wondering where all my children are, if you will, as a radiology director, and we now do that for them. But the primary advantage is preferred pricing for pro versus a non-pro member. So it's yet another reason to join the pro community.
Yep. And there's another idea, something to help us track our children.
Exactly.
I can relate to that one. Well, at this point it's 1 o'clock, so we want to thank everyone for joining us for such a great morning of insights, collaboration, innovation, and amazing HTM leaders. I hope everyone will join us back here at 2 o'clock for an afternoon of great discussion from the OEM perspective. Joining us this afternoon are industry leaders from Siemens, Triplite, and Midmark to share their insights regarding the future of HTM. It is now time for us to take a short break, stretch our legs, grab some lunch, check email, and we'll see you at 2 o'clock.
I would only add that there's another announcement coming. Very exciting. So come on back at 2 o'clock.
Great. Thanks, everybody.